Catch up with all the latest sports
Best of talk on the station for talk.
Nobody should just give up their life like a chicken. Will the police have the ability to resurrect me when I am dead?
The problem we have in Lagos is a sense of entitlement to things of the state by certain individuals who believe that whether you like it or not, it belongs to them and their family.
Your number one station for talk. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Dailies today on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Good morning to you, Lagos, Nigeria. Welcome to the second part of Dailies today. You can watch this show on Facebook and on YouTube. Nigeria Info 99.3 is how this news is always. It's not going to go anywhere anytime soon, right? This particular story.
Oh, okay.
It's not going away anytime
It's
soon.
not a pleasant thing to the eyes.
Yeah.
But what got in yellow? Wow. It takes a particular kind of mind and a particular kind of background to get involved in something like this.
This is massive.
I can never. If you ever hear my name involved in that area called Ogumilabere,
no, clone Lumaje.
Even a clone will reject it.
A clone will reject it.
It will reject it. The DNA will reject it.
Lagos, welcome to the show. I'm Sheriff Quadry. All right, let's begin. Let's begin. I mean, that's where we're starting from, actually. Page 12 of the Punch newspaper. Emefiele, cronies, acquired 753 duplex estates with forex kickbacks. EFCC.
Yes, the Punch took up the challenge yesterday. The EFCC had said that this legal explanation that it was the property and not the owner. Can the property stand without the owner? I don't believe in this kind of explanation. If you're seizing property, it definitely must have an owner. If it's the name of the company, say it's the owner of the company must have an owner. There's a company owned by so and so. The FCC need to. I understand the pressure under which they work. I will not pretend that I don't know the pressure under which the FCC operates in this political environment. Because almost every top gun is suspect at times like this, and therefore all kinds of pressure will apply. One thing that Emefiele shouldn't do, and I hope he does for our own sake, but he really shouldn't do, is to open up all that he knows and those he has helped. You might be surprised to discover that he probably doesn't even own these buildings alone. You might be surprised to learn that it could be all kinds of things. But let's read what we have in the Punch. The Punch says that court papers filed by AFCC linked Emefiele to the massive Abuja property with 753 duplexes and other apartments. I'd like to thank profusely my great friend, Mr. Sheriff, for opening my eyes to the real figure in this. I kept thinking it was 753 houses. It was when I heard you this morning that I realized that it is 753 duplexes and other properties. Yeah. So only 1,000. Yeah. I thank you for that. Anyway, the court documents obtained by the Punch ran a narration linking Emefiele to 150,500 square meters identified as plot 109 in zone C09, local Goma district in Abuja, and so on and so forth. There's one story here also. The court has also ordered the arrest of the former Amcon MD. He's been suspected in an 80 billion fraud.
80 billion.
Do we have somebody who can collate all these figures?
Yes, yes. There are people doing it. Yeah.
It'd be nice to know how much of our money has been compromised.
Yeah, some part of the CSOs, that's their own job to document all of these things.
If there are any of the CSOs, we'd like them to come forward and let's even get a feel. Let's say, for example, in the past 10 years, how much of our monies have been compromised. Remember, whether the man is found guilty or not, the money has been compromised. Whether the accused is found, the money has been compromised. It would be nice to know. Anyway, so Emefiele is still standing trial, and that would take care of things, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Let's go to the Vanguard. Let's take this story here on page 10 of the Vanguard. The story reads, Obi Falana condemn arrest of activist Farotimi.
Yes, so Farotimi apparently was arrested, or has been arrested, supposedly because a petition about alleged defamation and cyberbullying was written against him. And then the police then pick him up. This will be his second or third day. I don't know what kind of police force we run. So all it takes for me to knock somebody out during Christmas is on the 23rd of December, I write a petition against him. And it's picked up, 2 public holidays there, and he'll be there for another 3 to 4 days. To my mind, this is not the right kind of policing we should be doing. In the first instance, I'd like to be advised. Some of these cases actually should be civil suits. Indeed, Femi Falana, SAN, he has called for the unconditional release of what's his name? Of Dele Farotimi. He said, I just confirmed that Mr. Dele Farotimi was arrested in Lagos today over alleged criminal libel. In demanding for Mr. Farotimi's unconditional release from illegal custody, I wish to state without any fear of contradiction that Lagos State is among the 2 states in Nigeria that have decriminalized defamation in its entirety. In fact, the current state of the law was confirmed by the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Then he gives the reference. Defamation was decriminalized in the criminal law of Lagos in 2011 and an Edo State Bill 2020. And Peter Obi also says that he described the arrest as a misuse of police powers and an assault on democratic liberties. And by the way, don't the police think that they owe us an explanation as to why exactly you are picking him up? And if a petition has been written against somebody, you don't have to pick him up to investigate. When you have gotten it all tidied up and you think that you have a case, you pick him up and you charge him almost the same morning. And he gets bail. Because even what now happens is, even if he turns out to be innocent, he would have gone through some form of discomfort, to put it mildly. And I'm also happy now that other people are beginning to stand up to these things. And I got a very interesting reaction from Atedo Peterside.
Okay.
Atedo Peterside said, the people writing petitions against Dele Farotimi, along with their errand boys in the Nigerian police, have actually defamed themselves far more than Dele could ever have done. There is no hiding place for them. Dele Farotimi is a brilliant intellectual and a detribalized Nigerian who epitomizes the conscience of the nation. By their actions, they have confirmed that Dele is a giant that they are afraid of. I'd also like us to know that every activist at some point likes to be picked up because it enhances his standing.
Yeah, profile, yes.
And his profile. So you are just playing right into the hands. The police should tell us who wrote this petition. Why are you... If a petition has been written, you can easily send him a copy of that petition and tell him to give you a written explanation. What are you investigating? What are you investigating in do you understand?
Yeah,
in a petition that you would have held him for 48 hours without bail. And there's a likelihood that you picked him up in Lagos to drive him all the way to Ekiti. Are you going to bring him back? No. I said yesterday, when did we talk about the Biden?
Yesterday.
I said yesterday, Nigerians must now begin. Indeed, over the weekend, I was lecturing some people. In Nigeria, as far as I'm concerned, you have no rights. You're not working on eggshells, you're working on broken glass in this country for everything that you do. And it's all about power show. Okay? You call a colonel, I call a brigadier. You call a major general, I call a lieutenant general. You call a lieutenant general, I call a minister. That is the kind of country that you are living in now. As a poor person, you are doomed. I'm sorry, but I'm going to give it to you straight. I'm not going to be nice about it. You have no rights. Where are you going to run to? Ask yourself. You can't run to the judiciary. Even the best of judges, it will take him only God knows how many years to settle a case that could just take 30 minutes. You can't run to your religious leaders. That one is even worse. They will send you on another trajectory, completely different. You can't run to your elected representative like you would do in the UK. You run to your MP. Your MP is supposed to stand for you. Who is the House of Reps or Senator you can run to in Nigeria today who will stand up for you? It's not going to happen. So all of us have to be careful. We are not talking what should be. We are talking about what is. This country is becoming extremely brutal. Extremely brutal. So we all have to, minus even the criminal side of things, you all have to be extremely careful. Just this morning, I had to call the attention of somebody to say, I saw what she said in the papers. Innocently, I had to call her attention that Yoruba said that Pikin will not get mama, they get wound for back. And she suddenly realized, I said, because Nigeria today, because of the social media and all kinds of things, you're not too sure where you are. You're not too sure who's standing behind you. And unfortunately, those who could make things better are the same people who are making it worse. Those who are in the corridors of power. If you are defamed, to the best of my knowledge, if you are defamed, you get your lawyer to write a letter and go to court and so on and so forth. But obviously, because of power, it's the same thing that happens. You're driving on your own lane. One rich guy comes with with what do they call this, high locks and whatever, and knocks you off the road, and there's nothing you can do about it. If a downfall hits your car, there is nothing you can do about it. Ultimately. So once you have that realization, I'm sure you know how to survive.
Coping mechanism.
Do you feel any sense of fear even on this job we are doing?
How do you mean fear?
That anything could happen to you because of this job that we are doing.
So I had that feeling when I was in River State, when I was in Port Harcourt.
You should have that feeling now.
I don't have it now, to be honest.
What you say? What do you know? You have been well cooked. I have it. I have it. And you know that the older you get, the more afraid you are of not wanting to exit. A small child will dash across the road, but when you are old, you look left, you look right, you look up, you look down. Okay. I have my fears that anything, and when people tell me, it irritates me, but I know they are telling the truth. And they say, because Nigerians don't want the truth. The people that are concerned don't want you telling anybody the truth.
True.
And so how would I say that I don't have fears doing this job? I do. But it's just that, if it comes, it comes.
What comes? If what comes?
All kinds of things can come.
Okay.
And the ones that I fear most, I don't have any problem with people in government and police matter. It's the ones that walk from behind. The ones who stake. There are some people in this country. They're absolutely rich. They are well respected. You can't point to a factory. You can't point to any business they're doing, but they're stinking rich. And all they live on is being in the corridors of power. And there are thousands of them now in the country. Thousands of them. What do you do? Say, I'm into oil. I'm into this. Where is your refinery? Where is your this? Where is your that? None. They drive the best jeeps. They wear the best clothes. They carry the best women. Well, for those, and so on and so forth. And those are the ones, and they are very, 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 very deadly. Very, very deadly. People should understand the country that we live in. There are no rights. Don't think that there are no rights. If you are not careful, and I'm sorry to say this, but I'm saying this in all honesty, Even I don't trust it. I don't trust lawyers. Your lawyer himself can do you in if he's given a bigger offer. Look at the case that happened in Abuja. The man who that was beaten up by that, was it Reps?
Reps, yes.
He was the one who apologized also.
I saw the video.
So what does that tell you? So all those who are putting up a fight on his behalf, this kind of thing must happen in Nigeria. The man don't go beg again.
Don't collect moto.
Know thyself in this country.
Let's go to the page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Tax reform. Tinubu orders review as protest persists in National Assembly.
Well, I like his stand on this. The noise that goes with the tax reforms has been something else. And that's because most of the noise has been political. It's not been technical. I can't give an opinion on what is being said on the technical side because I'm not a tax specialist. And if I'm not a tax specialist, what has my opinion? I have a fair idea of what is being said. But if you're not a specialist, you're not a specialist. But there's a political side to it. Part of the political side, the true fears that some people have not been said. It's been said, people will call you, quietly. Jimi, we don't want a repeat of Lagos, so you understand what I'm saying? We don't, because the fears are that if you have one central body collecting tax, for example, all the taxes, and he now has a consultant attached to him, your guess is as good as mine. So the real political things are not being said. And other political reasons that really and truly, if you put them forward to a neutral person who looks at it from a tax point of view, he will be amazed. So it's a big maze, and it has to be handled carefully. But I am glad that the president has shown maturity to say that, look, I will not withdraw this bill, but we will take in all views and we'll see how we can satisfy at least majority of the people. So this is Tinubu's directive. He said, in line with the established legislative procedure, the federal government welcomes meaningful inputs that can address whatever gray areas there may be in the bill. In this vein, President Tinubu has already directed the Ministry of Justice and relevant officials who worked on the draft to work closely with the National Assembly. I hope the National Assembly lives up to its whatever. But for you in the vanguard, tax reform bill, KUKA, CITN, NECA, Pengasan, they suggest the way forward. I don't know if KUKA is a tax specialist.
No, he's not.
But he suggested the way forward. And that's why I say I'm not going to suggest anything. I'll just plead with everybody to do what is best for the country. And he says that the move should end elite's financial recklessness. That's what KUKA says. Elite's financial recklessness. It will not. Our problem in this country are not laws and systems. Our problem in this country is because we always let people get away with impunity. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that. Then CITN says it's a necessary step. We need more data integration. NECA says reforms will have far-reaching positive consequences. Pengasan says some provisions may affect oil and gas industry. Senate committee says that production is tool for economic growth, not tax. Then governor soften stance. Reps in rowdy session over comment on tax bill. Don't inject ethnic religious laws in national conversation, Minister warns. And that's where it is. Of course there will be ethnic and regional laws. That's what we do. Again, it doesn't even help the president that the gentleman who heads this committee, again, is somebody from his own region. These little things matter. Why didn't the president look for somebody from the north? This is, the thinking behind all this is that the gentleman is doing strictly the president's doing, and that there is a grand plan. I would have thought that would be a given. So this argument, care not taken, might keep going on until the end of the tenure of the... And this time around, it's going to be very difficult for the National Assembly leadership to dabaru anything. It's going to be... Already we had some youth have gone to demonstrate, at the National Assembly. The president needs to go into deep thinking and into a national mode. And he needs to stop all this brazen attitude that I can get away with anything, no matter whoever complains. He needs to understand that. He needs to understand that. The funny thing about things like this is, you keep doing these things until one day you realize that you've gone a bridge too far. And then there'll be no bridge to cross going back.
So let's go to this story on page 20 of the Trust newspaper. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's historic state visit to France.
Okay, so there's why this French thing is being so celebrated, I don't understand. Because I have my reservations about the trip. Serious reservations, including the ones I can't even state on radio. But there's a center spread that details all the things that happened. Meeting of the Franco-Nigeria Business Council co-chaired by presidents of Nigeria and France. One-on-one lunch between the two heads of state. So what's the big deal about the lunch? It's quoted as number 3. State dinner in honor of President Tinubu and an engagement at the historic Les Invalides complex with the display of a Paris Giant Saint-Germain football jersey with President Tinubu's name inscribed. This is almost like what happened when the Igbo people came and were showing our leaders mirrors and whatever, and we handed over our people as slaves. Honestly, I have a lot of reservations about this trip and what it signals for us. But I think I've stated that already. But some of the things that I'm seeing here, an achievement is a one-on-one lunch. What? Let me just keep my mouth shut.
7:53 is the time. Let's go to South Africa. This is another visit.
See, let me quickly add this. It is unfortunate that in 2024 we find that in the leadership of our country, I'm not saying the president now, but in the leadership, those who are close to him, who handle him, you still have that complex for Igbo. How can lunch between two people be an achievement of a visit and a dinner? It goes sweet past the Omono and Ema that you want to eat or whatever. You can see a lot of condescending things there. Meanwhile, the real intent behind that French visit on the French side, just sit back and watch. And see where this leads us in Africa ultimately. Already now we are virtually responsible for what appears to be the breakup of ECOWAS and relevance of ECOWAS, which we should have cherished.
So this is going to be our last story. South Africa unveils 5-year visa policy for Nigerians, drops passport requirement.
Please, when you say this is going to be our last story, always remind
Today.
that for today.
Yeah, today.
Or for this program. This is not my last story. Well, the president went from France to South Africa. And one of the achievements that you have now is that, you can now apply for a visa without submitting your passport, whatever that means. And also, tourists have now qualified for a 5-year multiple entry visa to another country, South Africa. When I was growing up in this same country, nobody wanted to go anywhere. Let's make our country attractive, peaceful, for us to have a good living, and stop having this mentality that it is a golden opportunity for you to leave the shores of this country. This demonstrates a kind of mindset to me. Do you understand what I'm saying? It demonstrates a kind of mindset to me. Some people who don't understand will celebrate it. We can now go to South Africa to do what? To do what? Let us build our own country. That people would be happy. You're on vacation, you throw your luggage at the back of your Beetle, and you drive. In my time, I remember, I think it was Emmanuel Koka or so, I can't remember, Emmanuel Koka or whatever, who drove from Lagos to Maiduguri on a vacation. I did a lot of that, but I didn't go that far. And even though I got opportunity, so the few times you find me going abroad, it's okay, fine, you want to just go on a holiday, but why we make it such a big deal? In churches now, people celebrate them. What do they do? Not Thanksgiving. What do they do? This testimonies, yeah. Because you got a visa. It's that same mindset that has produced this story. South Africa unveils 5-year visa policy for Nigerians and drops passport requirements. There's one word I wanted to use. Thank God I curtailed myself. Let me go before I use it. I'll be back at 9 o'clock.
Yes, you'll be back for Diabumi. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. Thank you. Lagos, that's our show. Thank you for being part of it. Now, if you missed out from the show from the beginning, you can go to Facebook and YouTube, go watch it over. Or you can just download and watch at your convenience as well. It's also up on our website as podcast. You can listen to it as well. You can also stream live from your streaming platform, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. You find all our shows on those platforms. Thank you for being a part of this. Let's bring you the news. After the news, we continue. We have the part 2 of the conversation we started yesterday. Civil service, the nest of corruption. We have a gentleman who will be joining us. I'll be sharing his story, how his colleagues at his former working place in the civil service victimized him because he wasn't ready to bribe them just so he can go on study leave. That's a conversation we're having next on the Morning Crossfire. Good morning to you.
Babe, I've been calling you all day. Where have you been?
Still trying to link my NIN. Like the queue is so long.
Haven't you linked it before?
I have, but I made a mistake with my date of birth.
But you could have done it at home if you visited www.ni.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.